Un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello. Yo. Hey. Man, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Another day closer to home, I guess. Oh yeah, man. Of course, yeah. It's I think you got to, in these type of situations, uh, try to keep a good attitude, man. Keep an attitude of gratitude is what I say. So I try my best. Attitude of gratitude, absolutely. You're like, what? Like, no, that don't go with you. Yeah.
Let me fix it up here. Jabra. Hello, hello.
Uh-oh.
Okay, yeah, got it. We're on. Hey, thank you, Ms. Vero, for pointing that out. That you couldn't hear me. Um, so hey, so I want to go ahead and welcome, Eric, to a new session of you have a collect call from, and I'm sure you guys were able to hear him, but obviously you couldn't hear me. But hey, thank you for pointing that out, man. So I was out in LA yesterday, man, and let me tell you, LA, since the last time you were out there, man, it's definitely changed. You won't believe like the way LA looks right now. It looks like if somebody just threw a bomb on LA, um of like tents all over the place, like tents and like
Um,
mobile homes. Man, you'll see like Mercedes Benz or BMWs, and people will be living out of it. Like the tire that it has four flat tires. They got like a blue tarp over it. And you see this like in areas that you normally wouldn't see stuff like that. And so it's definitely heartbreaking, just seeing, like the changes that LA has gone through, in the last few years.
wow. Damn, yeah. And I've heard a lot about the homeless issue out there, and but man, I did not think it was like that. But I mean, I guess you could say it makes sense. With just man, everything going on out there with just the expenses and the stresses of life, um, and just the mental health issues as well.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? When I was living in LA, and this was like maybe like in the um, I would say like 2006, 2007. Like it was so crazy out there. And mind you, it's not as bad as it is now. Like I couldn't afford, to live on my own, during those years because, it was crazy for me at that time. So just now looking at it what it is right now, it's impossible. So I definitely, you know, would understand, a lot of people not leaving their parents home because of, their current situation and the current, housing situation. And it's just expensive, just to rent, and then they make it impossible, to buy a home.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, for sure. No, and it just made me think of something else too, because I was watching this. I watched this film yesterday. Um, here in my cell on my tablet. It's called um, the Wisdom and Trauma,
Okay.
or yeah, the Wisdom and Trauma, and it was kind of like a, I don't want to say a biopic, but it was a great film, and it was just talking about how people end up in these type of situations, and it's usually rooted uh, on trauma, on trauma that people have gotten of things that people have gotten been through,
Hmm.
and then eventually leading them to addiction, and then finding themselves, uh, like you said, living out of their cars, because some of these people, um, they're like highly intelligent. They've had great jobs, and it's just certain things happen in their life where they just uh, kind of just give up a lot of, and decide to do that, to succumb into that those type of situations. So yeah, it's a lot behind that stuff, man. It's
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
it's definitely finances, trauma, addiction, uh, everything. A lot of things, man. So yeah, it's definitely an issue, man. It's crazy.
You know what? I think so. I think with the whole thing that happened with COVID, and people losing their jobs, and because there was a point in time where you weren't, like, businesses weren't opening up unless like you were like an essential worker. And I think that was kind of like a broad term that they were using. um, it affected some workplaces. It didn't affect others, and some people, or a lot of people, I think, that ended up losing their jobs. And then for a while, the government was giving out those, they were giving us, I think, I want to say, assistance for like housing, and then the EDD,
Oh yeah,
and the
yeah.
stimulus checks. So everything was cool for a minute. People were able to stay afloat, but once all of that ran out, and then they didn't have a job, or they were no longer employed. Some people were out on the street, living outside of the apartment that they were previously renting, like a few days before, with other belongings. So I think some of the people that ended up in
Right.
this situation didn't have any type of addiction, per se, before, beforehand. I'm not sure,
No, for sure.
how it ended up for some of them. Maybe, I'm pretty sure, maybe, just being, on the street, and speaking to other people that were kind of in the same situation. Maybe they fell into that type of lifestyle. But I don't think everybody, was involved in those type of things, beforehand.
Yeah, for sure. Beforehand, for sure. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And speaking of that too, like I think COVID had it really hit a lot of people's mental health, and I think that was another factor too that kind of um led people to along those lines, as well as losing employment and housing and just everything, man. It was a lot. It was a lot of factors for sure.
Yeah, man. Luckily, like for myself, I'm considered essential worker. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Fish Layer SoCal, and Fish Layer SoCal. He's telling us good evening, everyone, with thumbs up. He's one of our loyal viewers. He normally comes in, most of our streams. So
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I appreciate the support. But like I was saying, so yeah, so fortunately for me, I was an essential worker, and um, it didn't affect actually. Instead of affecting my work, it ended up giving more work than I actually wanted. During that time,
Mm.
I was working like ridiculous amount of OT. I think that year, I want to say, I picked up like maybe like 50 or 60 days of OT in the year. Um,
Damn.
which was a lot, because I wasn't used to working that amount of OT. It seemed like the company I was working for at that time didn't want to hire more people. I guess maybe it's cheaper, just to pay whatever employees they had at the time, and pay them overtime, opposed to bringing somebody else on, and doing it like that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure,
Hmm.
man.
Yeah. So it was definitely interesting, during that time, the world was definitely going through some interesting changes. I think some changes were good and some of them were bad. I think one of the good ones that came out of it was, the remote working, being able to work from your home, and not
Mhm.
leaving, not needing to leave your house if you didn't want to, because just going out into the workforce every day, you have to get up, you have to get ready, and then you got to drive somewhere, then you got to waste gas, opposed to working from your home. You could just roll out of bed and turn on the computer and vámonos. And I did that because I worked from home for maybe about for 3 months, and then
Yeah,
I figured out that working from home definitely was not for me. I needed to be out. I needed to actually drive out and go somewhere and interact with people.
right, right. True that. No, yeah, that's very true too. Because man, my girl, she just barely went back to working from work from the business because she was working remotely for a long time as well. So yeah, she was going in like 2 days, but the rest she was working at home. But now she's going 5 days. But yeah, it did do that too. The convenience in it.
Yeah, it's definitely it is convenient. Normally they'll provide you with like well, at least the company I work for, they provided me with a computer. They paid for my internet, and
Right.
but
Exactly.
I didn't like the whole get down. It's just, man, when I applied for the job, it was more money. It was about like $5 or $6 than what I was getting paid, working in in an actual brick and mortar place. And but then
Right.
when I would go in, and I'm like, man, like this shit. I think like within like I think like the first week or two, I realized, oh, like, man, this is not for me. I better start looking for another job,
Yeah.
because I don't know how much longer I could hang in. And luckily, I was able to get back into a hospital, which was definitely a blessing in disguise for me at that time.
For sure. Nice, nice. Yeah, heck yeah. I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah. So, man, so how have you been? We haven't talked, I think maybe like in like 2 days. Anything new going on out there? Anything you want to speak about, or mention?
I mean, shoot. I mean, around here, man, it's pretty much the same thing every day. Like the uh the daily routines of prison don't really change. Get up, go to chow. It's all everything's always structured. And so it's like it's pretty much like the same thing every day. Just yesterday though, we didn't have we had like a down day where it was like a staff training. So we didn't have nothing coming. Like all I went out of myself for yesterday was to grab my breakfast in the morning and to grab my dinner at night. And aside from that, I was just right here and doing cell time, which I mean, it's it's not something that I'm not used to. So it was cool. I mean, you can use a little down days every now and then, but eh, I prefer to be out. I prefer to be out of here. So aside from that, today, uh, uh, one one of the fellas he went to board today after 18 years, and he ended up getting found suitable, man. And so it's like he's like the man right now. Everybody's wanting to talk to him and ask him questions, and what they ask you, because everybody's trying to make sure they're as prepared as they can be when they go before these commissioners and um and these boards. So
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
the biggest highlights these past 2 days would probably be that our fellow lifer got found suitable today. So that's always a good thing. It's always inspiring and encouraging to continue doing the work, continue putting in the work. So
Yeah,
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 man. Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
That's definitely good news. And then when they have these down days, what are they like doing training or what exactly is happening during these down days? Because I know you have, I don't know, is it like the first Wednesday and the last Friday of the month that are considered down days?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's gonna hang up, but let me call you back, and so we won't get cut off.
Yeah, perfect. That'll work. We'll be waiting.
All right.
All right, all right. All right. So, I want to go ahead and welcome you and everybody that's in the chat, anybody that's supporting, really appreciate you guys, helping us out, helping out the channel. Um, you know, I know you guys got a lot of different options out there as far as YouTube content and whatnot. So, just you guys showing support over here on this end. It means a lot to me and the guys, because I know a lot of them, they look forward to these calls and then the interaction from you guys, not only from me but from you.
This call is now being
Esta es
recorded.
Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Eric Fuentes.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Sentinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Yep.
Hello. Yeah, yeah. Um, so these down days, right? I think it's the first Wednesday and like the third Friday, like you said, right? So the first Wednesday is the like education training, like staff education training. So I guess the education members, the staff from education, they all do like a training um regarding their, I don't know what, to be honest with you, I don't know what the hell they train on, but
Yeah.
it's really, man, honestly, I think a lot of, and what's frustrating to me is that, yes, well, they made, that's education staff, that has nothing to do with custody, so it just does, I don't understand why our program gets shut down on those days, and it's kind of frustrating, upsetting to like be like, so why are we down if like that has nothing to do with custody? Like custody could run yard and run day room and things like that. So um, yeah, so I'd be tripping out on that. I think it's just a ploy to like to just not do nothing and they just take the day off to just chill and not really have to do much. But hey, it is what it is. Like, all right, that's fine. Like enjoy your down day. Like, but yeah, I'm not sure what, but yeah, that it's supposed to be for education training. So like teachers and other like other staff from the education vocation and things like that. Like they have their training, but I I really do not know what it consists of. And every time I do ask or I ask or how was training, nobody has anything good to say about it. So I think they kind of just go um, waste their time in this training. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So, so,
yeah,
so it's the educational staff, so like the teachers and whatnot. Is the day for them to train, or is it
yeah.
another? Oh,
On those on the first Wednesday, it's their day to train. Yeah, teachers, vocation staff, ERP staff.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Yeah, it's for them. It's their training. Yeah, and then
okay.
the third Friday, I believe. Third Friday, I believe, is for the officers.
Man, so everybody gets a free day, once a month. Shit, I wish I could get a free day at work. Sign me up for that.
Yeah. I'll get some meter training for a day. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so Yeah, I'm just trying to enjoy a little yard. I'm just trying to go out there. I'm just trying to be out myself. On those days, it was nice out there yesterday too. I'm like, damn. It's like you go out to breakfast, and you could tell it's gonna be a beautiful day, and it's like, damn, but we're gonna be locked in ourselves. Like, damn, that sucks. So it's like, man, I wish we could just run some kind of program, but it is what it is. That's just how they do it around here. Every prison got their way of doing things. I know where I was at before, even when they did these, like if it was education, we still had our yard and our day room and stuff like that. And then when they did the officer training, they only shut us down for like half the day, and then they'll give us the rest of the day. So over here is just different.
Oh, right now, and right now that you mentioned the previous place that you were at before, I actually want to ask you something
Yeah.
about that. When we get off the air, so just in case if I forget, remind me.
No,
Cause
right?
yeah. I was thinking, I was talking to my lady today when we were at the park, and I was kind of like trying to come up with new ideas, and she was like, "Hey, well, why don't you do this?" And all the man, that's a great idea. How come I didn't come up with it? And so I was like, "Let me check. I'm gonna check if Eric could help me out, because I know you were somewhere else previously. So hopefully,
For
it,
sure.
it helps out. But um, man, I know on the last call we had, man, you were sharing a lot of your journey. We went through, your court case. We went through, you running into your one of your victims, which is a trip, man. That's like that one definitely left me scratching my head because shouldn't there like be like something on the on file showing that you guys shouldn't come in contact with each other? You guys should be keepaways.
Yeah, yeah, no, most definitely. It should, but it's not always like that. Like sometimes, like things like that kind of slip through the cracks. And so I think that was just one of the because I don't know how they would have known unless they were like into like my because he wasn't a victim while I was incarcerated. So I don't think they kind of were able to have that like that awareness
Yeah.
because he came in, when he got incarcerated. So yeah, but yeah, you would think, I would have thought I never would have thought that would happen, but yeah, it definitely did, and I'm glad for that. I'm glad for that. But when we got to prison, that's when it became aware because they didn't like they knew like hold on, like
Oh,
when I was
okay.
coming down to court.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was coming down to court, he was on another yard. I was we're on different yards, and we were coming down to court. We were gonna come to court in the same van, but transportation before they put us in the van. He pulled me out. He pulled me out, and he's like, "Hey, man, can I ask you something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" And he's like, "This person right here, because he's taking them with us. We're going together, but And so he's like, "This guy right here, who is this guy to you in your case?" And I'm just like, well, allegedly, I'm still trying to play like the innocent role and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, allegedly, I shot him. And he's just like, what? He's like, hell no. He's like, oh man. He's like, and I'm supposed to take both of you in the same van? He's like, nah. He's like, that's out. He's like, no, that's not happening.
Hey,
And so,
hey, you should
yeah,
have told
yeah,
them. You should have told, nah, we're good. We're homies now. It's good. I'll have one of the homies
exactly.
sign off on
Like,
it.
yeah, yeah. We've been signed off on that. Like, don't even trip. Um, but no, yeah. So he was just like, and where you guys are good now? And I'm like, yeah. Yeah. It is for me. Like, I'm pretty sure it is for him too. And he's just like, well, and he kind of just like was like a skeptic about it. Like, and he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna take him today. I'll come pick you up tomorrow. And I was like, all right, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how it went down. So from that point on, it was like known. Like it actually was known. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he put it out there. So the administration was aware of what had transpired.
Yeah, they noticed that we were both going down for the same case,
Yeah.
but they didn't know in regards to what, you know. And so that's when they asked me like, and I just was honest with him, you know, like that's what it is. And he's just like, oh yeah, oh hell no, like oh yeah, nah, I ain't dealing with that, you know.
Yeah. And you know what? And right now that you brought up, LA County Jail. Um, man, I want to share this with you. So you know how I showed you the county blues last time. So
Yeah, yeah.
I was out in LA yesterday, and I had some free time, I had a few moments, and I was able to stop by my mom's house. And I've been meaning to do this for a few months. Uh, I think I believe that I had some county Jackie Chan's or the Bruce Lee's
Oh,
at my mom's
yeah, the
house.
Bruce Lee was, yeah.
Yeah, so I went into my old
Oh
room.
wow.
I went into my old room and I was looking, and man, sure enough, I still had it. They were still there. They were still there. They were a little bit dusty. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna take these. I gotta take these home with me. So
I gotta add these to the collection.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna think of some old newspaper. I have to fluff them up, stuff them up, so make them look a little bit more legit. They're a little bit on the worn side, but back then, like in 2006, is that the ones they had? Like they were all black, and then on the front they had like a little rubber stamp on the front that
LA
said,
County in the front.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Those are the
Yep.
ones I got. Yeah, yeah. Because now they're different.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, they changed them up, but yeah, those were it when I got there, and then they changed them also while I was there too. Like towards the time when I was leaving, they got some different shoes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But you know what?
those were major right there. Those are the ones.
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. But those I can't take credit on those. Those I didn't five finger discount on by myself. Those I was actually it's a trip how I got them. So I had gone down to court. I had gone to juvenile court to East Lake Court, and
Hmm.
and uh, and I had gone down to court, and I was trying to get my juvenile record sealed. And when we were walking out of court, I seen this dude. I seen this black dude walking out, and he had a paper suit on, and he had those the Bruce Lee's on. I was like, hey, what's up? Hey, let me get them. And then he was like, I don't got anything else. I was like, don't even trip. I got you. I just happen to have some Pumas in my trunk. I was like, hey, I'll shoot you these. Let's trade. Boom. And he was like, hell yeah, all right then, cool. I shot him the Pumas, and then he gave me those the LA County shoes. I was like, man, I'm gonna have the full uniform ready, but yeah, so that's how I got him, and they've been sitting in my mom's house, for the last, man. I think I would say I got these maybe like in 2006. So man, shit, you know what? I probably had them as long as you've been in there.
Yeah, yeah, that's when I got incarcerated, 2006, for
Hmm.
sure. You definitely had them that long. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. So
That's crazy.
so
That's funny you say that because yeah, yeah, yeah.
go ahead,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, go. Yeah, you got it, you got it.
No, because one of my buddies today we were talking out there, and we were talking about hot pots, and he's like, "What kind of hot pot you got?" And I'm like, "Man, I got this old ass hot pot, you know." And
Yeah.
and he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well," I'm like, "Man, my hot pot, I think my hot pot probably older than some of these new guys' CDC numbers." And he's just like, "Yeah." I'm like, he's like, "How old is it?" I'm like, "Man, probably like 2010." And he's just like, "Damn." And he goes, "Man, you want to see something that's that's probably way older than anybody else's CDC number?" And he grabs his chanclas, and he's like, "You know how old these are?" And I'm like, "Nah, like how old are those?" He's like, "Man, these are from 2004." I'm like, "Damn, bro!" Like, "Oh yeah, you got me beat." I'm like, "That shit's older than I've been down." Like,
Yeah.
woo, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oh." He's
Eh,
like, "You definitely got your money's worth."
oh yeah, 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 man. You've had a hot pot, and that's one of the good ones because now they don't make them the same anymore. I'm pretty sure they're a lot cheaper and they break
Mhm.
down a lot easier.
Yep, absolutely, exactly. Yep, you're absolutely right about that.
Man. But so I know. What is? I digress, from this whole conversation, and but I had to share that with you right there, because you got the story about the blues. I gotta give you the story
No, no.
about the Bruce Lees. But
Yeah, you got the whole outfit now for sure. Hell yeah.
oh, the only thing I'm missing is the thermal that I didn't bring with me. That was one of the white thermals, but they got some now. They got some that said LA County. I was surfing eBay and I saw them. I was like, man, that's cool. But I was like, man, this fool wants too much. I think he wanted like $90. So I was like, I'm straight on the thermal. I just get a thermal from the streets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The thermal end don't even really matter like that. Like you could use any of for that, you know. It's the blues and the shoes. Oh yeah, those are the ones. Those are the winners
Yeah, yeah, man.
for sure.
So yeah, that's what I did. That's what
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
that's what I was able to do yesterday. I got to see Joe, for a few hours. I interviewed with him. I actually, tried to do a live with him, but I was having some technical difficulties with the audio. And I,
Mm.
Esta
luckily,
llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
when I do these interviews, I always have a backup. So while we're doing a live, I was actually recording on another camcorder, just in case something went wrong. So I still need to edit that video and
Right.
upload it. For whoever missed it, they're able to see it on his fifth week of freedom update. So
Yeah,
I know it's about to hang up. If you want to go ahead and give me a call back, and we'll go ahead and continue, and we'll get back to your journey.
for sure. Yep, I'll call you right back.
All right, cool, perfect, perfect. All right, so and I see Amy Rifle in here. She writes, "Hello, welcome," and right now we're just waiting for Eric to call back. These calls normally only last for 15 minutes, and after 15 minutes, they're automatically disconnected. Um, and surprisingly, the service has been good for the last few days, which is definitely a plus. I'm not complaining. I'd rather jump on these calls and have them run smoother than have them uh, go go dark.
This call is now being
Esta es
recorded.
Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Eric Fuentes.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Para rehusar, gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello, hello.
Yo. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know
Yes,
what?
sir.
Right now, I got a notification on my phone from YouTube. Somebody put a comment on one of your videos right here. They put I think it was let me see what video was it. This was so the last video we did. Damn, oh snap. Your video, the last one we did, got a 1,182 views so far. That's pretty cool.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
And
Okay then.
there it is. Yeah, normally I get a 200, 300. So you hit them what is it, quadruple digits right there. But
That's
man, he writes in so he writes 170 years is basically 4 life sentences. Yeah, yeah, you could definitely look at it like that.
yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
So last time when we were talking, you were talking about when you switch sides, when you went over, from the main line over to and what do they call them? NDS yards, non-designated yards now, or
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's what you call them now. Non-designated programming yards. NYPD. Oh, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
yeah, they got all kinds of acronyms for them now. Who knows, what week they're using
Yeah.
what. But
Yeah, exactly.
so when you finally made the decision to hang up the gloves, and walk away and uh, put that lifestyle behind you, did you have any concerns or apprehensions about going over to the other side? Because ultimately nobody knows. It's the unknown. Nobody knows how the program runs over there. People just you just hear rumors or speculation on how the program is run over there. Do you remember what were some of your thoughts when you were in AdSec, waiting, you're in that gray area, waiting to go from one side to the other side?
Yeah, man. You know what? Honestly, when I was waiting, I was just like, I was like, damn. I'm hoping that they don't throw me like on like at least if they put me on like a cool SNY yard or something like one that's uh like not too not too chaotic, you know, because I had heard stories like, man, this is crazy over there. You know, it's there's no structure. You know, there's nobody to answer to. You know, everybody just does whatever the heck they want, and it's like, and you're just there. You know, and then now it's like each man for their own for themselves. You know, so yeah, that kind of crossed my mind a little bit, but ultimately I was just thinking like, well, um, like uh like I'm a survivor, I'll be all right. Like I'm pretty sure I'll be able to navigate these waters. And so I was just like, man, I'm just looking forward to doing my program, doing me. So as fast as those thoughts came in, they went out. But it was like a little bit like, damn, like that is true. And honestly, my biggest thing was man, I felt lost too. I felt lost. I had felt like I had lost my purpose. Like, damn, now what do I do? I was like in a state of like identity crisis at the time, because you so used to. I had invested all my time and my life to this, to gangs and identifying like this, and to finally do that is like, so what am I now? That's what I identified as. That's what I value. That's where I found my self worth. And so it was like, damn, now what? Now I'm on my own. I'm solo bolo. Like, so like, what comes with me now? And so that was kind of another one of my concerns. Like, so what do I go do over there? And so I was just like thinking like, well, like, okay, you gotta focus on what you're doing this for. You're doing this because you're trying to leave a certain lifestyle behind, so to better yourself, you know. And so I kind of went off that, but the the um the crazy thing is that I thought it was gonna be different. I thought that it was, I'm just gonna be able to go and just chill, but at the end, honestly, at the end of the day, it was pretty much the same stuff, just without no structure. It's still the same kind of people, same mentalities, and some even crazier. Because it's like there's nobody to tell you, no, you can't do that, or like you can't cross that line. You can't. It's like people could just do whatever the hell they wanted, and so that kind of was a little scary. And so it was like, damn, it just uh, forced me to be a little more hyper vigilant about my surroundings and what I was getting into. And yeah, man, it's because there's some people that are just off their rockers, and so it was like you have to be careful with that too, because ain't nobody keeping them in check. There's nobody for them to answer to and things like that. So I definitely thought about that as well. But once I got there, I was just like there was people coming up like if I was still on the other side. Oh, what's up, homie? What's your name? And it's like, oh shoot, like what the hell? Like people hadn't like
They hadn't shed their.
abandoned that. Hadn't shed
y-
their
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it was like coming over to like the same stuff, just a little different.
So
Yeah,
were a lot of people, or do a lot of people tend to, retain their moniker and their
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
retain
for sure,
their monikers and their neighborhood ties?
for sure, absolutely. So like yeah, like I remember when I came over and I had my celly would just he introduced himself by his nickname and where he used to be from and his area. Like, hey, they call me such and such, woo. And I'm just like, whoa, what the hell? So I'm just like, oh, all right, well, they call me this and that, And it was like, oh shoot, it's like and so thinking back on it now, it's like, dude, you were supposed to leave all that, but then the stuff is still the same. So it was just like, oh shoot, it's still the same thing. So it's like keep it, keep who you were and where you were from and things like that. So yeah, it's like you still hold on to that identity because, like I said, like for me, it was like I had lost that, and then coming to find out that people were still holding on to some of that stuff, it was like, oh okay, well I didn't lose everything, I'm still such and such from, and I used to be from this place, and so that's kind of how it went.
And right now, like, and you mentioned, you said you lost your identity. When you go through this the transition, or when you make that decision, does it feel, or did it feel like something inside of you broke? Because from the
Oh
street,
man,
you're taught, certain things like don't tell, don't ever let your homies down, and then you get into prison, and you get a lot more training, or brainwashing, or whatever you want to call it, and then you ultimately decide to walk away. Do you feel like, did you
yeah.
feel like that it broke something inside of you?
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Absolutely. That's a great question because that's exactly how I felt. I felt ashamed. I felt like I had been letting so many people down, like my homies and even the people that I had on that side. It was just like damn, like that's who I was. That was my worth, So once that's what I found. I had found worth in at the time. It's what I valued. And so letting all that go, like man, I felt in a way empty. I felt empty. I felt like I had lost purpose and like super ashamed. Like shoot, like I there was at a time, and it's crazy because I had somebody mention this too, and I was like, oh shoot, I felt the same way, where I I I couldn't even listen to rap music the same no more because I was like, like like I ain't no gangster no more. Like I ain't, I'm none of that no more. Like I felt, like defeated, like weak, soft. Like, ah man, I can't even listen to that kind of stuff with the same kind of feel to it because of what I had done. So it definitely uh left me like broken and like like I had lost something. But that was that was the best thing that could have happened, because it was through that I was actually able to find.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Yeah, so it was through that I was actually able to find myself and who I was and what I like, not what other people thought I was supposed to like or be like or act. So yeah, that was a good thing about it. The best thing about it actually.
Yeah. Just a moment ago, you mentioned about music.
You mentioned about music.
So
Right.
so with music, at least for myself, I hear certain songs, and it'll take me back to a certain time or point in my life. So like if I hear like a Bone Thugs and Harmony, Creeping on the Come Up, man, it takes me back to like 1994 or 95, when I used to hang out with my friends, and that things of that nature. Or or like 50 cents, like Many Men, or In the Club, like back to like the
Oh
early
yeah, yeah.
2000s. So
Hmm.
when you would hear this music, would it, would it take you back to those points in your life, and you're like, nah, like that shit, it's no longer me anymore, like that's done with, or like what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it was like, yeah, like, because it was like at one point you were about that life, and so you believed in it so much, and it was like, yeah, and you vibe to this music because of it. Like, yeah, hell yeah, I could relate to that struggle. And it was like once um, that was given up, or I decided to give that up. It was like, oh man, like yeah, like I can't even relate to that no more. you know. So it was like it was having that kind of effect on me at that time, during that time.
And how long did it take you to like fully, shed, that mindset that you had, from the main line, and to function in a way that you were comfortable, or function in a better way, if you will.
Man, so that that was a process. That was a process of like of um of self-reflection, of self-analyzing, and like introspection of oneself. So it was like um asking myself the questions like, do I really like that? Do I really like to shave my head? Do I really like like um don't I like freaking like comic books and things like that? So it took a process, it because I identified with something for so long and I believed in it, that it wasn't until I started being able to deconstruct um, those beliefs, or or um, or those likes, or it started like breaking them down. Like, are you really? Do you really like to fight? Are you really violent? Like, is that something?
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
And it was like having to ask those questions, and it was like, nah, hell no, I don't even like to fight. Like, I fight because it's the only way to survive. It feels like, but like, nah, like, I don't think anybody does, but I don't know. For me, it was like having to do that. So it took a process of like um not not giving into those kind of behaviors that I used to hold, and 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 substitute them with different behaviors, and realizing that like I had a choice, because at some point it felt like I didn't have no choice. Like, my only option was don't ever back down, and like.
Hey,
But I
call
think
back.
he's gonna hang up. So
Yeah, 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 call back. Yep,
yeah,
yep.
let me call you back.
All right, cool, cool, thank you.
All right, cool, thank you.
All right, so the call's about to cut off right now, and Eric will be calling us back, and we'll go ahead and continue with his journey right now. So right now, he's speaking about when, when he made that transition over from the main line over to the, SNY side, and kind of, what is, we know what he was going through, the struggles he had, within himself, with his identity that he had for the last, years or decades, possibly. I'm not exactly sure, how long, he had identified like that.
This call is now being
Este es
recorded.
Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Eric Fuentes.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello.
Yo, yeah,
Yeah. You know what? Right now that you mentioned, about shaving your head, I was, a few days ago, I was showing my wife, the video visit we did, and like the first thing my wife said
yeah.
was like, this guy don't look like a gangster. And then I start laughing. I start laughing like, because she said that that's all, every time I show her somebody, she's like, he don't look like a gangster. And then I'm like, yeah, because he's gone through a transformation. He's not, he's not trying to look like a gangster. That's why he don't look like a gangster. Or sometimes like I'll mention things to her and she's like, man, people are still gangbanging. She was like, I thought that shit was over and done with. I thought people had moved on already from that. Like I didn't think that was a thing in LA anymore. I was like, nah, I mean, we left the hood. We're not around those things anymore, so we don't see them. But it's a reality for a lot
Right.
of for a lot of other people that are still, that have no choice but to be there. So for us it's changed because we're not there anymore, but it's a constant it's a constant thing, for people, back home.
Yeah. No, yeah, the hood's still there for sure. It's probably it might have changed its face a little bit. I'd be hearing like you got dudes with skinny jeans and a Mac 10 tied to their arm or in their freaking little backpacks and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely still out there.
I think they're known as man purses.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go. Exactly. Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
And with the Edgar haircut,
Yeah.
but I'll be telling my wife, I was like, hey,
Yeah.
don't be underestimating these fools, because these fools are definitely they're definitely with the business.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That mentality is still there for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, so you started, shedding, like those the look, and you grew out your hair.
But
Did,
look, yeah.
are you heavily tattooed, or do you have any gang related tattoos?
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. I got the hood on my shin. I got it on the front of my chest. I got tattoos on my arms. Yeah, definitely. Got a few tattoos. Um, yeah, gang related tattoos and a few others. That I just got while I was in here. So yeah, like even when yeah, even in here, like I'm working out and I had somebody tell me one time I came off my shirt and then they were just like, damn, you used to be a gang member? Like, like I laugh.
Yeah.
I love it, man, like I appreciate that, I take that as a compliment to where before I used to be like, what? Like what you mean? Like hell yeah, but now it's just like, man, thank you for that, you know. I appreciate that I'm doing something right, If you can't tell and like you would never even have thought, then that's the goal because it's about for me transforming myself completely, and
Yeah.
genuinely, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, you got my wife, and obviously somebody on that yard, so you're definitely on the right track for that that outward appearance, or the outer appearance.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, for sure. And I think it comes from the inside, Like it comes out, like inner out, like it kind of shows who I am inside. So it's not like I'm.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
It just happens that way, I think, and so I guess that's what shows now.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And let me ask you something. So, do you remember what it was like the first days, that you walked onto that yard, because you don't know what's what, you don't know what's friend or foe, you don't know what the get down is. Was there like a welcoming committee, letting coming up to you and like welcome you to the yard, or because in the mainland, when you get there, you automatically you're looking for the people that are from your area, and and people show you the way. Obviously on the other side,
Right.
it's a whole different program. So do you remember what that experience was
Yeah.
like when you got there?
Yeah. So yeah, and man, so that's the funny part about it, right? That it's like, yeah, like I expected that to like not be welcomed like that or like you know, like not knowing nobody and things like that. But no, it was actually, and maybe it was because of the level that I landed on. It was a level 4 180, and so I think the caliber of people are different.
All right. The,
Yeah.
the phone went dead for like a quick sec, like half a second.
Okay, okay. And so yeah, so when I arrived, it was like people like my celly was the first one, like introduced himself and everything, and he kind of started lacing me up a little bit. He's like, so what area you from, or you know, what area you out of? And it's like, oh yeah, you got a couple dudes from the Valle over here too, and woo, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. So it was like the same thing, and it was like, oh, hey, you just got here, oh, you're from the Valle, hey, you need anything, you know. So it was that same kind of stilo was still there, you know, because keep in mind that a lot of these, not everyone, but a lot, for the most part, that's where they're coming from too, you know. So they're bringing that with them as well. That kind of that kind of style, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and so
Yeah.
at that time, you know, you said you ended up on a level 4 180. What were your points at that time when you transitioned over?
Oh man, I had points upwards in the hundreds. Yeah, I had just finished doing a shoe. So that skyrocketed my points. I was probably like 100 and like, I don't know, I want to say like 135, 140, somewhere around there. I was in the 100 range. Yeah. So yeah, I got kicked out to, yeah, I spent, as a matter of fact, I spent even on this side, I spent all the way up to 2017 on the 180s.
Okay. And right now, right now today, how many points are you sitting at right now?
Man, I never thought I'd get here, but man, I got 23 points.
Oh, damn. So you definitely been on the right path because, you know, back then, because I know they overhauled the point system.
Yeah.
Each year, how many points would you knock off of your points?
Well, once they changed it, they started going. At first, it was 6 to 8, depending if you had a job or not. And then once they kind of changed the point system, they started going to 12 to 10 if you had a job or not.
Oh, okay, so man, so so you say you were like in the hundreds and 100 and something. So man, so it took you maybe about 10 years to actually drop down to a righteous level 3, right?
Yeah, 11.
Oh, 11. Okay, there it is.
11, 12. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, man.
So
Yeah,
right
I
now,
know.
but
And I'm proud of that, man. Yeah.
so you say how many points did you say you have right now? 20 what?
I have 23 points right now.
So
I'm level 2.
that's what I was gonna say. So why are you on a level 3 right now if you're a righteous level 2 now?
Oh, well, because when I was here, so I was here for 4 years. This is my first level 3 that I got to, and so I got here in 2017, and so I stayed here for 4 years, and then I got involved in this program, in this OMCP program, and so the way that works, they send you to another prison to go get educated and trained to become a substance use disorder counselor, right? Like an addictions counselor, in other words. And so once you finish that program just sends you back to where you came from. And so that's kind of what happened with me. Even though I wanted to go level 2, they gave me an override to stay level 3 and come back.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
yeah, they just sent me back over here to come get my hours.
Oh, okay. So eventually, you want to go down to a level two. You're not trying to stay on level three more than you need to, then, right?
No, no, absolutely not. If I could go level two right now, I would have, But if it weren't for this yard having San Diego State University and me getting my hours, like I would probably push for level two.
And you've never been on a level two, right? You've never done any dorm living, right?
No, no, never.
Man, that's a man. You definitely come a long way, from when you originally entered the system. Did you ever think that you could actually get down to a level two, level one, or would you be eligible to get down to a camp, or camps off limit to for the type of case you got, or for lifer?
Yeah, no, yeah, I definitely won't be able to get to a level one or a camp because of my of me being a lifer. Yeah, they have to be they have to have what you call it the gates. They have to have a closed prison, a closed a gated prison. It has to be gated, like,
Yeah.
and has the security fence,
Okay.
protection
Okay.
fence. Yeah,
Yeah. 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 Man, shit. Well, maybe,
yeah.
hopefully,
So
I mean, with the way California is going right now, with the new, what is it, the California model, shit, you never know.
California model, baby.
You might be on a camp. You might be in a camp one day. So, I'm pretty sure, there might be some CEOs screaming at the computer right now because they don't want that to happen. But, man, shit. Hopefully that maybe they got that in the works, on the plans, for this new California model.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because they're definitely leaning that way, and so they even made like a gang of changes where they're allowing uh, certain certain incarcerated individuals, and I say incarcerated individuals now because that's another California model thing. They don't call us inmates no more. We're incarcerated people. Like they can't use inmates and stuff like that, but they're allowing us certain people go to fire camps. Like they made like a bunch of changes, and like even if you have a vial on your C file on your jacket, um, they're they're making an exception to certain cases and time factors to allow you to go to fire camp. Yeah, yeah, it's definitely uh, having an effect on certain people's how they where they're able to go and do their time and what they can do. So yeah, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, something like that would have happened. But honestly, I hope to be out before then.
Yeah. And you know what? And right now that you mentioned fire camp, I actually had the pleasure of, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the camp system, and the LA probation camp system, but
Oh yeah.
so I recently did an interview with a gentleman that his name is Jeremy. Jeremy, what's Jeremy's last name? I think Jeremy Hampton, and he was working at one of these
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
camps, but
Oh, Jeremy.
yeah, Jeremy, yeah.
I know Jeremy. I know
Okay.
Jeremy.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
good
yeah.
in Hampton. Yeah.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah, as a
Okay.
matter of fact, yeah, he paroled from Centinela about. I met up with him in February. At that time, I think he said he had already been out for like 8 months. So right now, man, he's already been out.
Right.
Maybe like he's about to be hitting the year. I think he said he had got out in May. I want to say May. And so he was working at a camp that used to be known as Camp Gonzalez, which now it's no longer a part of the LA camp system anymore. They converted it into a training facility, where they train individuals on how to become firemen, or to fight fires.
Firefighters.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so right now that you mentioned
Dang.
that, about fire camp, all that, man, like, yeah. So he took. All right, so I'll go ahead and continue right now when he calls back. And hey, KC fan underscore one. Hey, I appreciate it. You know, you coming in. She writes, how is it going, everyone? Hi, James and Eric. I'll let him know right now as soon as he's he gets back on the line. Um, I'm actually out of town right now, but I brought my laptop with me, so I had a few moments before we take it down, to actually jump on and continue with Eric's story.
This call is
Esta es
now being
Global
recorded.
Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Eric Fuentes.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello.
Yo.
Yeah,
Hey.
so we got a KC fan, or KC underscore fan one, and she writes in the chat, how is it going, everyone? Hi, James and Eric.
Yellow.
There it is.
KC. Okay.
Yeah. Kansas City. She's the number one Kansas City
Yeah.
fan in here. Yep.
Yeah, he just won.
There
Good stuff.
it is. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so yeah, he was able to pull some strings, and he was able to get me. We actually did our interview in the facility, like in the where the
Wow.
staff. Did you ever go to? You went through the LA? You went through the hall? Yeah, that's right. You went through Silmar and okay, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and you went into what was it? Smith, right? You said Smith, Camp Smith, and Challenger.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was one of them. So
Yeah.
the funniest, that what's crazy right now is that you're mentioning this. Gonzalez was the last camp that I don't want to say paroled, but that's where I
You
got out
furloughed.
from. That was my last camp that
You
I
furloughed.
furloughed from
Yeah,
in
that's what they
2000.
called it. Yep.
Yeah, in 2004. That's
Oh.
crazy.
So I was there. I went there. We did our first interview, which was like in the control room. The staff members could, they had an overlook of like the grass area, and to the left, was like the
Yep.
like the dining hall or the cafeteria.
Mhm.
And then all the
Yep.
way, like if you would walk across, like if you go down that path, you would go into the dorms. So he took me all around the whole facility. The dorm area was being renovated. They had gutted, like they had
Oh
removed
wow.
all the beds. They were actually they had torn on the walls in the shower area. They had like a
Yeah.
toilet right there that they had pulled off, so it was pretty much gutted. There wasn't anything on there, so I recorded like the whole experience. He took me over to uh, the box area, and the little
Yeah.
they had like a little play. I don't know what they would call it. I referred to it back then, but like a little yard, that little yard right there. So, and we did two interviews. So we did the first interview inside the control room. The second interview we did it right there in the yard of the box.
Yeah.
And you know what?
That's crazy. I know exactly what you're talking about too, because I was there.
I noticed something interesting about that place. So in the box, because we were walking in, and we walked through like the control area, then we walked like
Yeah.
where the shower area is, and I stopped where the shower area was at, because I noticed something that I hadn't seen anywhere that I could recollect in like a facility like that. The toilet area, the restroom had doors on them. You would have some privacy
Oh,
if you would use the restrooms. I was like, what? This is different. I've never seen any. In the halls. I never saw that.
yeah. That's interesting. Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't remember them having any photos when I was there either.
yeah. So in right there, that area was those restrooms were still not gutted. So like the old graffiti and the tags and stuff were still on those mirrors there. I was like, man. So I was recording that. I was like, man, maybe somebody that was here, maybe they cut a placazo right there, and then they'll see it right here. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah, but
crazy.
Yeah, you know what? I think I was gonna mention it to you last time because I think you did mention that you were in Camp Gonzalez, but I think I didn't get the I didn't have the opportunity to to mention that to you. But it's come full
Right.
circle, so I mention it now.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Man, that's so good though, man. I like hearing that they're turning it into, when it used to be a juvenile facility, a juvenile detention center, now it's a fire, it's turning into a fire camp, and that's great, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think they're training. I think it's you have to be between the ages of 18 and 20. I don't know if it's like 26 or so I think under 30. I don't know the specifics of it, and they renamed it to the LA Training Center, LATC, and
Oh wow.
it's operated by ARC.
Oh nice. That's what's up, man. That's cool. Man, yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely gonna help people out, gain careers and make a living for themselves in a positive way. Heck
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because they train them. It's they don't have to pay anything for it. The only thing is they have to stay on the grounds. They're not able to leave. Uh, um, and
Oh,
and they provide them housing, food, and training.
yeah. I mean, shoot. Yeah, that's good. I mean, what else can you ask for?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Setting
mean,
you up to succeed.
pretty much, pretty much. And you know what? I was researching LA, and I think the camp system in LA was one of the biggest camp systems. At least as far as I'm aware in California. I don't know about the country. I think at that time, like
Probably.
in the 90s when I was there, I think they had like over 20 something camps, and now they only
Yeah.
have I think like 4 or 5 camps that are open.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's awesome.
I think like Page is one of them for sure. And there's like four
I was
other
there.
ones, but everything pretty much everything else has been decommissioned. They closed down Challenger, Mons, Mendenhall.
Right on.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, they don't have that many camps, open anymore.
That's awesome. That's awesome because yeah, those they definitely weren't as effective as they should have been. You know. So
Nah,
that's good,
nah,
man.
nah. Yeah, they
Yeah.
they were not they were not effective. Whatever plan they had for them, it's not what was happening because yeah, we were coming back like it was the thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, most definitely. Freaking, yeah, I was at Page too. I was at
Oh,
Page
okay.
Dogs in the fort. Like, yeah, they turned it into a forestry camp when I was there. They stopped using it as a fire camp, and I worked in that as well. Yeah,
Hey, how many camp programs did you do?
I did. I did. So I only did two, right? But one was super long, which was Smith, and then I transferred out to Page. After Challenger, I transferred out to Page, and I did the rest of my time there. And then when I got out and came back, and I went to Scudder. I went to Scudder, and then I got kicked out of that camp. And instead of filing on me, they just sent me to Gonzales, and
Hey,
I finished my time there.
hey, so for Scudder, from Silmar, they sent you straight to Scudder. You didn't you started off at Scudder?
Yeah, yeah. I went.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Man, that's interesting.
Yep.
Because when
Mhm.
I went to my first camp program. I went to Resnick, and then from Resnick, I went to Scudder. So Resnick was phase two, and Scudder was phase three, and I furloughed from Scudder, and this was back in '97. 97, 90, no, no,
Mm.
98, 98. I got there in 97. I left in the beginning of 98. And then my second camp program was also for me too. It was a long camp program. And that one I ended up doing 9 months. I went to Onozuka, and then from Onozuka I went to Mendenhall. And I think I did 16
Mm.
weeks. I did 16 weeks in Onozuka, and I did 16 weeks in Mendenhall.
Right on.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
So that's interesting that they sent you over to Scudder, straight to Scudder. You know, for Scudder, I was there for Christmas or for New Year's, and they actually at that time the camp there was a girls camp which was next door, which was a camp
Scott.
Scott. Yeah, 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 yeah. And
Yeah.
for I don't know if it was for Christmas or for New Year's, they actually had a co-ed party for us. They took us over to the gym at Scott.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you enjoyed that little party for sure.
Man, yeah, it was cool. It was cool. I mean, it was something different. It sucked for the people that weren't able to go. Those who got left behind, they got left behind in the dorm where everybody else got to experience, something, different than, for being in camp.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, man.
Man, yeah. You know what? I don't think I ever asked you. Do you have any kids?
No, no, no. Fortunately, I don't have any kids, thank God,
Yeah.
because I definitely, yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to. It's difficult being a parent from in here. So I definitely wouldn't want that added stress, um, and then man, just leaving them behind as well and things like that. And it's hard, man. Like I feel for those parents that do have kids out there and they've been in here their whole life. So yeah, I'm fortunate to not,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
not. Yeah,
For me, I had yeah, I had a daughter when I was 16. So, when I was
mm,
going through the camp system, she was growing up. And the reason I asked you if you had any
right.
kids was because at that time, I don't remember if it was at Camp Scudder or Mendenhall, but they had this program called Teen Dads. And what they would do, I don't know if it was once a month or once a year, like they would have like this like this gathering in Dodger Stadium or Legion Park, and
Oh wow.
they would bring everybody that was a dad or a teen dad that was in the camp system, and they would bring us to the auditorium where your kids could come and you could spend that day with them there. And
Mm.
while that went on, it was like during Christmas, so they had like a dude dressed up like Santa Claus. They were giving kids gifts and whatnot, and it was a trip because we were able to actually walk around freely without a supervision of a staff member. And I remember, man, we went to the restroom, and the restroom was like located like outside the auditorium. So if anybody wanted to walk away from camp, that would have been like the
That was your
perfect
chance.
opportunity to leave. Yup.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
but nah, like that wasn't. I just thought about it, but I wasn't gonna go nowhere. I was like 2 3 months from finishing my camp
Mm-mm.
program, so finish it up and go
Yeah.
home. And
Exactly.
yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I know I heard stories of people leaving when they had a month, a week, and for whatever reason, I once saw a dude escape from Wayside. From no from me I don't remember if it was medium north or medium south. uh did you ever go to Wayside or medium north or medium south?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I only when I went to Wayside, I was in
Esta llamada
Supermax.
y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I was in East Max for a little bit, and then I went to Supermax after that. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I was in East Max for a week.
Yeah.
For a week when I first got incarcerated for this case, and within like a week of being there, they freaking they called me to catch the chain, but everybody was catching the chain, but everybody was like, "Where you going?" And I'm just like, for some reason, I decided to say I'm going home. I started telling I'm going home.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
started telling people. I started telling people I'm going home. I'm going home. They're just like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm going home." But I was just BSing, with people,
Yeah.
and because everybody was catching the chain upstate, and so when I was in East Max, they it's go crazy. It turns out that they took me back to the county for release.
Yeah.
So I'm with this case.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Back in county
Mm-hmm.
after being incarcerated for like a week or two.
Yeah.
Waiting to be processed out to be released. I was
Yeah.
in the tanks waiting for my clothes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's how far. Yeah, that's how far I got, and I'm just like, yeah. I was like,
What?
what the hell? Yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy, bro. It was, I couldn't believe it, and I was just like, oh man. And I remember calling home, calling my brother, like, yeah, I don't know what it is. I think they kind of made a mistake, but I'm taking it, you know. And it was crazy, but yeah, as soon as I got to where my clothes was gonna be handed to me,
Uh-huh.
I was just excited. I was nervous. I don't know what to think. But yeah, they're just like, hey, you take it back. And I'm just like, what? And they're just like, yeah, take it back. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm supposed to be getting out right now. Like I'm.
Man, that's a trip, man. That is definitely a trip. I know that's happened in the past. You know, when they let individual go that weren't supposed to go home, and by the time they figured out, it was already too late. You know, they got out through that last door, and they blasted their pictures all over the I can't even say social media because back then social media didn't exist. It would have to be in the news, channel 11, channel 7, channel 5, 2 and 9. So that would have been definitely interesting if they would have made a mistake like that and let him walk out of the county jail. You know how they what are they gonna say?
This call is now
Esta es
being
Global
recorded.
Talent. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Eric Fuentes.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Gracias por utilizar Global Talent.
Hello, hello.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man. Yeah, but that almost happened for me right there. Yeah, that was crazy. I was tripping out on that. Yeah, but
What are the
uh,
odds? What are the odds of them thinking that you were gonna get released?
yeah, it was crazy. I couldn't believe it myself, and even when they sent me back down to like little control center, they were just I'm over there complaining. Hey man, what the hell? Like I'm supposed to be, and I remember the deputy looks at me and he's like, really? 187? You're supposed to be going home right now? And I'm like, I'm like, yeah, man, like like I didn't do this, you know. And he's just like, yeah, all right, buddy, yeah. But yeah, it's crazy.
Oh man. You know what? And you said you made some phone calls. I don't remember any phones being in like any of those tanks. Did they add them on or what or where were you able to make phone calls at?
I was in one of them. Yeah, the tank that I was in waiting to get my clothes. There was a phone in there. There was phones in those tanks, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, I believe that's where I made my phone call, telling my brother like hey, just in case, you know, like be ready to come pick me up, you know, and things like that. But yeah, that didn't happen, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah. Man, I'm sure you were
yeah,
devastated. You're like, fuck. You're like, man, I'm gonna walk out of here. I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna be gone like the wind. Catch me if you can.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's definitely how I used to think, you know. Yeah, just like that. Yeah, but yeah. Um, it turns out it's like eventually it all made sense. Actually, with why that was, and like you know, hindsight's 2020. So looking back on it now, like I realized why all that had happened, and it was because they just wanted to get me back to the county, and then and so they did, and then they started recording my
Phone.
videos.
Oh, okay, okay.
Well, they already recorded them, but they actually used them in my trial.
Oh, so you made some incriminating statements during those visits?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was showing I was showing my brother paperwork and things like that, and like yeah, just saying uh things like because it was two of my uh ex associates from my gang that were taking the stand and stuff like that, and so yeah, back then you're trying to do anything you can to try to beat your case. I was trying to do anything I could to beat my case and things like that, and so living in that criminal lifestyle too, you kind of go about it in certain ways, and so I was trying to get a hold of these people to like, and so I was just sharing like, look, this is what this guy's saying and things like that, and so they use that as like a conscious of guilt, you know? Yeah.
And I remember you mentioning that your brother, he was like 4 years older than you, and pretty much you ended up getting into the neighborhood because he was part of the neighborhood.
Right.
How is your brother doing now? Did he straighten out after all this happened with you, or what's his status, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah, I definitely don't mind. No, he got his stuff together, he left that lifestyle behind. Actually, for him, so for me it was prison. For him, it was uh, almost being almost almost losing his life to being gunned down a couple times, and so that that kind of did it for him, and so he just stepped back. He still uh, um, he still talks to like old friends of his, that they all grew up together and things like that. And I mean, that's as far as it goes. But as far as him being out there in the streets and like gang banging or being in the hood, like nah, he's got a daughter now. He works. He takes care of his daughter, and just continues to stay out of trouble and just try to live a productive life. So yeah, he's like, yeah, he got his stuff together. He stepped back from all that years ago, as well. So, um, but so yeah, he got his stuff together. Thank God. Yeah, but
Man,
he learned.
That
Uh
that's
huh.
that's definitely like good news that your brother, he saw the writing on the wall, and decided, to to make that change. When you decided to walk away, did did
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
did it affect your brother's relationship at all, or also did anybody fall back because you made the decision that you did, was to walk away?
As far as like my brother and things like that, like did my brother like
Yeah,
is that what?
yeah, well, him and like anybody else, like you when you were going through that transition, uh, was there like any talk of you like not you shouldn't walk away, or like if you do this, like like we're not gonna talk anymore, or anything like that?
Um. Well. Well, no, not really. Well, it's I just I don't I mean I guess nobody held it against me. I mean because I guess my brother was still in good standings, and so it was just like well like it was like they kind of accepted it, like well that's your little brother, so it's like it is what it is, but yeah, like you probably shouldn't have done that and things like that, but I really didn't get no backlash for it, and I for the most part I think it was because of who my brother who my brother was and his involvement and things like that. And so, as far as that, no. But I know that my brother, yeah, I still remember this too because I debated my decision and I was asking for advice and I remember him writing me a letter talking about like, man, just like take what you got coming, and I'm just like, dude, like, are you serious? I think back on it now, like I laugh, but like, no, like that's not what you do, like you really get hurt, something, but you're so caught up in that lifestyle that it's like you're willing to get hurt to continue in it, and be fine with getting violently attacked and so you could be in good standing. And so, yeah, he kind of had advised me on that, but then afterwards he was just like, all right, so, it is what it is. I still love you, you're my brother, and nothing changes. And as far as the homies, forget the homies, and don't worry about that. So that's kind of how that went for me.
Okay, okay.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes, and yeah, I don't even know. It didn't even click. I should have asked you that, man, like maybe our first or second interview. But right now, we revisited. You had mentioned speaking to your brother. I was like, man, that's right. Yeah, your brother. He was involved in that life. So
Yeah.
wanted to get that aspect of your journey because I'm sure that holds back a lot of people, from making that decision because they don't want to let, family members down or sometimes even parents, sometimes your parents might be involved in things like that. So,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
I've spoken to a few people that, their parents have been involved in like that and, things or that lifestyle and they try to talk them out of it. But I mean, once you get to a certain point, there's no coming back. Well, at least back then, I hear things are a little bit different now. If you have a little bit of cash, uh, you might be able to buy your way back.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, it's gotten that bad, you know? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, exactly.
man.
Yeah,
So,
but no, he was supportive. He was supportive after the fact, so that really helped. Like, all right, cool. Like, I made the right decision.
and hearing that from him, how did that, what did that do for you, mentally?
Oh yeah, that helped out a lot. It lifted a lot of weight off my shoulders. It got rid of some of the shame I was feeling at the time, and it felt good to hear. Like, all right, cool. Like that doesn't that doesn't separate us. And I always knew this, but it just knowing, hearing it, and knowing it is so much, such a relief to hear. So it was like, all right, cool. Like all right, like uh, that's great. Like cool, because that was one of my biggest things too, was because um my brother was like who I looked up to growing up. Like that's who I emulated and who I wanted to be like, and I try to, like, I always, everything I did was based on like, um, is he gonna approve of this, or like, if, can I make him proud with this, or like things like that. Because
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
he was the one that whose opinion of me mattered the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? And one of the reasons
hmm
I'm asking you these questions, like as far as like the reaction to your brother, is because somebody might come across this stream or the video, and they might be they might have like a loved one or friend going through similar things, and they might be thinking about walking away, and they don't know uh, the proper way to support this friend, family member, or if they care, if it's somebody they care about, what they should, what way they should handle it, because a lot of people, they're looking at it as how is it going to affect them, not is not the person that's actually in the situation. So
Right. Right. Yeah. 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 Most definitely. Yeah, that definitely it definitely that definitely gets taken into account. However, it's just like, man, like you gotta have like some kind of empathy for the individual that's in the actual situation, you know, like there's got to be some kind of understanding. Like it's not, you know, at the end of the day, nothing was worth it. And so it's like if a person's trying to change their lives, you know, and and if you could make help, like be okay with that, then that's huge, you know. Like even if it is gonna, you know, kind of affect how uh, people may perceive you or whatnot, is like everybody's their own person, you know. Everybody, each man is their own man, you know. So it's like just being able to respect that and like be understanding of it, that you know everything, there's a purpose and an intention behind everything, you know. And so if it's for the better, then I don't I mean I could just I would just encourage like to being okay with it and be like, all right, you know, supporting it in a way. I don't know, depending, but situations are different, you know. Some situations are not as easily um uh uh I mean looked at the same, or all cases are different, because for some the involvement is deep, and so that's a whole.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Yeah, it just depending on how deep they're entrenched into that lifestyle and the involvement with in here and out there, you know.
Yeah, if your abuelita, you know, if your abuelita was gangbanging and she's active,
Yeah,
she might not be too happy, you know. So I see you know, where you know what you know the point that you're trying to, you know, get across. Yeah. So like if your family is heavily entrenched in that life, then yeah, they might not be you know, too encouraging.
yeah, exactly. But mm, yeah, exactly. So
So
yeah, I think it's just about respecting people's choices, you know.
so if you want to go ahead and give me a call back, I know we're down to like we got like about 5 seconds before this call disconnects, and we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and continue.
Uh,
All right. So, man, hey, thank you guys, you know, for you know, hanging around and listening to listening to these conversations that we have like every day or every other day. I'm in the process of bringing on some new guests on, so they could go ahead and, you know, share their stories with you guys or anybody that's interested in listening to their journeys. I can definitely say, you know, when I started, you know, or even before I started
This call is
Esta
now
es
being
Global
recorded.
Talent. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Eric Fuentes.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Talent.
hello, hello.
Yeah, yeah.
So earlier on, you know, you were you know, talking to us about, you know, when you were, I guess, reprogramming yourself or learning how to become the new you. I don't exactly remember that terminology that you used, but how long into you walking away and going to the other side did that change start happening?
uh, I think it started with just that change, right? Um, of transitioning. And so I think that's what planted the seed, right? Because I remember coming over and I'm just like, all right, I want better for myself. I, 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 I want better for myself. I know better and things like that. But then finding myself in like similar environment with a similar kind of vibe, it kind of made it hard. So little by little, it started with like when like in 2013 getting my GED. That was like, oh shoot, like I'm capable of accomplishing certain things, you know, and graduating, like finally, like finishing high school, you know. And so it was like, okay, I started believing in myself because for a long time I had a lot of self-doubt in my abilities and what I was capable of doing. And so that kind of like, it was like these little things like that. And then little by little I started getting involved in groups like NA, AA, and things like that. But I was still using at the time, you know. So it wasn't. I think what like I was sharing last time was that it wasn't until I was able to meet my victim face to face, and I had that realization when I was going to court of like what I was asking and the way that I was living my life and my beliefs. That and then I was able to apologize to my victim and just tell him like, hey man, you know, like, and I'm sorry about that. And he was just like, hey, you know, it's part of the game, you know, pretty much what he's told me, like, it's all good, man, but I appreciate it. And I'm just like, no, yeah, man, because like I told him in the bus as we were going back down to Kern Valley, like, you know, like you're a cool dude, man. And he's just like, no, yeah, I know you too, you know, like we can get along and before in different circumstances and stuff like that. And so I think through all these like positive activities that I was doing, like these positive.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
That little by little started helping me see things, and one of the biggest things was believing in myself, and then my education and going through these groups and learning from others and seeing like older dudes that have been there, done that, lived a life and all that, and then seeing them like deciding to change their life around, like like what's that all about? You know, I thought that was like the way to be, you know, like I thought, you know, like, and it's like you learn stuff. I was learning things from them, you know, like when they started doing positive things and running groups and trying to teach people to think differently and view things differently. So I think it took like man, like to finally make the full commitment. So the process was from like the time when that turning point where I met my victim, which was in 2014. The last hurdle or challenge that I had was staying clean, you know, not using drugs or alcohol. And so I was educating myself and stuff. Like once I got my GED, I started taking college courses, and I started learning things in there through my college classes and things like that. And that started opening up my mind to all kinds of different things that I didn't know. You know, like it started removing my ignorance in a way about like life and the world. And so as I went through this process, like I was saying, I was still in 2014. I decided to, like I said, I had that spiritual awakening at court where I was trying to pray for things, but I couldn't. And so I remember praying to God. I told him, man, if not this way, then show me a way. You know, let your will be done. And so I left it at that. And then I came back and I sobered up. And I stayed clean for like, and I was going to NA and AA and things like that. And I stayed clean for like 2 years. But the thing about it was that all at that point, all I knew about recovery was abstaining, like stopping from using. And so I didn't have no like relapse prevention plan or like, coping tools. All I knew was like, don't use and you'll be good. But I still hadn't addressed none of my past. I hadn't addressed my traumas. I hadn't looked to find forgiveness or forgive myself. I hadn't begun my healing. It wasn't until like once I relapsed in 2016, where I started drinking again and using drugs, that I found myself in Tehachapi on the 4-yard. Man, that was one of the most violent yards that I've ever been on. Me too. Like mainline this side, yeah, it was violent. Like one of the most violent yards I've been on. And so I found myself there, sitting in my cell, like aimlessly living, just not knowing what else to do with my life but to get high and try to like numb my reality, escape my reality. And so it was during those moments where I was just like, man, like I want something more, I want something better, but I just didn't know how. I couldn't start over there because I felt like I was already too entrenched with that circle of like my peers that use, and our thing was like, getting high and drinking, and that's just how we passed our time. And then living with my cellie, that's how we did our time as well, just drinking and using substances. That it was hard for me to get out of there, man. It was hard for me to to sober up and start working on myself. So it wasn't until 2017 where I freaking got an override to this prison for level 3 override, that I got to this prison and I had a fresh start. I had a clean slate. I didn't know nobody here. I hadn't made any buddies or anything like that, and so I kind of learned from like my past experiences and situations, like how when I did try to get clean, I didn't have no support system. I didn't have no coping tools. I hadn't been healing, or I wasn't doing any of that. And so it wasn't until I got here that I said, okay, I know the mistake I made last time was that although I wasn't using, I still hung around with people that used. I still glamorized using and drinking and that lifestyle. And so I realized, okay, that was my first mistake. So when I got here, it was like, okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to hang out with people like that no more. I'm going to try to look for people who are involved in, like, positive things, like education. Like, education was, like, key, like, the number one thing for me that I was looking for, that I felt was, like, my biggest and greatest ally towards finding myself in my recovery. And so when I got here, it's when I made the full commitment, like the conscious choice to, like, okay, you're not making no exceptions to alcohol or associating yourself with people that drink or use drugs. And so that's fine. So I guess it was in
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
of like 5 to 6 years that it took for me to finally get to the point where it was just like, okay, no more none of these poor choices. Like, you're gonna work on staying sober, and doing positive things. And my main positive thing was education and certain groups. And so that's kind of how long it took. And it was this yard that kind of provided that for me. When I got here, I started getting involved and I became a volunteer educational tutor because I had my GED, and so I entrenched myself in that, in education. And so I was teaching people, how to practice for their GED, how to study for their GED, taking practice tests for their GED, and things like that. And so it's like with anything, right? If you hang around a bunch of smart people or educators or teachers, eventually he kind of leads you down that path to maybe become a teacher. And so that's kind of what I had learned from my past experience, was that if I was kicking it with all these people that still used and got high and were still willing to get violent and things like that, then I was becoming that again. I was still in that circle. And so coming over here, getting involved in education and being a tutor and becoming friends with other tutors and working on that kind of stuff, it led me along a different path, which eventually, because of that decision, I was given the opportunity to enroll into Imperial Valley College, an on-site college program that they provide here for the population, where actual instructors from the college come and teach in the prison setting and teach you the classes, and you're pretty much taking college courses towards your associate's degree. And I think for me, man, it was that experience that just solidified my change, because I learned so much through these classes. It taught me so much about the world and life and society that I was just like, oh shit, I found who I am. I'm a freaking nerd. I like books. I like to learn. I like to oh man, I'm smart. I'm capable of these things. And which was hard for me to believe before, because I had so much self-doubt, so much low self-esteem. My self-worth was in other things, and so these things to me seemed like a mountain, to climb and reach.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Once I started realizing, if I how we were talking about, if we applied ourselves to freaking other things, imagine how much we could get done, right? And so that's kind of what it was for me. I began to apply myself towards learning, educating myself, and at the same time learning about myself and what my actual likes and dislikes were, and that's kind of where I found it. But I think this is gonna hang up right now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But I'll call you back if anything.
Yeah, call back.
All right.
All right, man. So there you go. You have it right there. As long as you have a purpose for something, to get yourself involved in something, positive, anything's possible. Anything's possible. You just have to find something that's positive, that's gonna help you, change where you're at, change your mind on the things that you've been doing for, the last, few years, maybe even more.
This call is now
Esta
being
es
recorded.
Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Eric Fuentes.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello, hello.
Yo,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Ooh, I had to catch my breath after that one because,
Oh man,
dang,
you were doing good on that one, man. I was like, man, that's right. Like you found something, positive to do. You involved yourself in education, and who would have ever thought that you were interested in, reading books and learning, picking up as much as information as you can, and that's what you're focusing on now. If you would have figured this out, years back, then you wouldn't even be here.
yeah, yeah, most definitely. Things definitely would have been different. Yeah, and yeah, man. Yeah, it was through education that it kind of turned a turned a leaf for me in a way. It's what's helped me, and and like I said, like through through being involved in these programs, like and the environment matters a lot too. Like this yard was like super cool when I got here, super calm, level 3, rarely any violence, and it's so far away from like anywhere. It's in the middle of the desert, so the 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 drug trade here was very minimal. There still be drugs on the yard and things like that, but it wasn't like other places where the yard was flooded and it was like people were just giving you like stuff, and so that was another factor that helped too, and the opportunity to be involved in these kind of programs mm, was a major was a major help as well. So yeah, man, and yeah, that's where I found my thing. Like, oh shoot, like I really I love learning. I started realizing things about myself. Like, oh shoot, I got a pretty good memory. As much as I tortured my brain with all these substances and things like that, um, like I could retain a lot, and so through these little things, and then the instructors uh, 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 filling you with, or just throwing these things at you, like, man, you guys are smart, and like they're giving you all these affirmations and things like that, like things that we didn't get growing up as much, or that kind of support like that, getting it now, or getting it in here, or getting it through those programs and classes and things like that. It really made a difference. It really made a difference in my life, and I would say in a lot of other people's lives. And so that's kind of what helped. And like we're over here learning about like psychology, because ultimately that's what the college program here was offering, was an associate's degree for transfer in psychology. And so it consisted like of a bunch of psychology classes, and I was just like, damn, like I never thought that I would find this fascinating, but um, being able to learn like about the brain functions, how people socialize, why people, act the way they do, and like yeah, it just opened up my eyes to so much that I was just like, man, this is this is tight right here, this is dope. Like I like this stuff, and so yeah, that's kind of what did it for me. That's eventually where through learning, I started learning about like what I got to do to stay sober, to stay clean, um, to to challenge my mindset, my beliefs, and getting involved in groups along the way, and through my peers, through these new peers that I was hanging around with, like hey, you might want to join the CGA group on this date. It's a good class. I was like, all right, cool. And you get involved in those things. It's not like, and it wasn't like before, like, oh, hey, the homie just hit, so he might have some stuff, that, some good stuff or whatever. That was the talks before. Now it was like, hey, you wanna meet up later on and probably go over some of this test that we're gonna have, or like study and things like that. And it was like, damn, who would have thought? I used to trip out on it too, because when I was going through this college program, we found ourselves, and not just me, it was many other students, other guys in here too, that were just like tripping out, like look at us, like we're in a freaking library studying for this test, when, looking at us back then, who we thought we were, right? Or who we were supposed to be, and we're up to like no good, like some nonsense. And so it was so good to see. It was so rewarding to see how far we had come, and once I started seeing that for myself, it was like, oh man, sky's the limit from here. Like I found my groove, and little by little, man, 2012 became and been clean and sober from everything since 2017. I got my associate's degree in 2021, right?
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
And through this path of meeting people that were up to positive things and good things, and trying to change their lives, I learned a lot from so many people too. Like the biggest lesson that I still hold with me is that that somebody taught me, and that I consider my mentor now, and he's out there now, a former lifer, is that like you can't just do it for yourself, like it's easy to care about like one of your buddies or one of your friends and look out for them and want what's best for them. But the hardest thing is to like care for a complete stranger. And so once he taught me that lesson of like just caring for people because that's the right thing to do, and that's what it's all about, being there for one another, and that's what like opened it up for me, and kind of led me on a path of like wanting to be of service, wanting to help others out, of wanting for you what I would want for myself. So in other words, if I want to succeed, I want you to succeed. If I want to go home, I want you to go home. If I want to stop using drugs, I want you to stop using drugs, and things like that. And so, yeah, man, I'm just so grateful and so fortunate for the people that I have in my life, and that taught me so much, and to be able to finally find my purpose, find my new worth in positive things, and having different values now.
Hey, so
Yeah,
right now,
okay. So right now.
the path that you're on right now, you're on a righteous path, and I think this should be the phrase that the correct phrase that should be used. You really want to make a homie, not break a homie where you're currently at, not how it's been used in the past. Do you,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like like I want to pick a homie up. Like I don't want to kick you while you're down. I don't want to, you know, like I want to meet you where you're at, and extend a hand to you, and bring you to where I'm at, or wherever you want to be at. Like let's build each other up. Like let's not break each other down no more. Like we've been doing that for so long that um it's why we became the way we were. You know, we started believing in these things like tough love and things like that. Like, no, like how about, you know, let's start practicing some compassion, some empathy, you know, some patience, some service and things like that. So yeah, most definitely, that's where I'm at now. You know.
Hey, Eric, and I know like our time's getting short right now, and I do have a question from one of our viewers right now. We got a question from Soul Grimy, and Soul Grimy is asking, what's his thought on the sentence? I couldn't imagine knowing I'm never coming home. So I'm thinking he's asking, when you heard your original sentence, 170 years to life, uh, like what was going through your mind? Like, could you believe it, or what was what thoughts were running through your
Yeah,
mind?
it was unrealistic. It was something that I couldn't fathom. I couldn't believe my damn self, and like I just couldn't believe it that this is how I ended up. Like, wow, like I'm gonna die in prison, and so with that um, came a lot of my behavior. You know, not caring. You know, being careless, being ruthless, continuing to be callous. You know, with that kind of sentences, like I used to say to myself, like, rehabilitate me for what? To be a law-abiding prisoner, you know? And that's what I used to think, before I started my change and all that. But yeah, it was very it was like a hopeless situation. But uh, through it all, I continued to try to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And it took a while, and just living with that situation. Um, I guess I would say that you would understand why a lot of us in here choose to just try to escape reality, try to numb the pain through substance abuse, through violence, through criminality, through all these other things that would bring some kind of pleasure, some kind of intrinsic reward. And so, yeah, it definitely hurt. It hurt a lot, and I guess I could say that I got to give all the glory to God because I think it's through my faith in God that I
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
keep hope alive in the slightest bit to like continue going to like think like, oh man, like it ain't over till it's over. And so I think that's what kind of helped me get through where I'm at today, because it definitely was tough for the first decade of my sentence, for sure, having to live with that, not knowing if you're gonna get out, what's gonna happen, am I gonna die in prison, sitting on your bunk, looking at the ceiling, like, damn, the concrete, straight concrete box, like this is what it comes down to. So it was difficult. It was difficult, and so um, yeah, man, it was yeah, my heart dropped when I got that sentence for sure.
And
But
then
then again, I was angry. I was numb and things like that. Yeah.
so Grammy writes, how long has he been down for? Hope he keeps his head up. He keeps his head up. Prayers for him. Very strong to deal with that. And I put on there that you've been down since 2006. I know we're about to get hit with that 1 minute mark, right? About any second now.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, you be knowing.
so if you want to go ahead and give any shout outs out, and then we'll go ahead and after this call hangs up, we won't be on the air, but I want to ask you something off of there.
Okay, for sure. All right. No, all my love to my baby, Liz. I love you. I hope you're enjoying your night. You have a good night, sweet dreams. Hopefully we talk soon. Mm,
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And hey, appreciate you guys tuning in. And like I say around here, life's like a candle. Once you blow it out, it's lights out. And with that, we are out.
Hmm. Outros.